This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. It's been almost a year since I reignited that love for trophy and achievement hunting, and since that obsession has come back into my life, I've gone from 7 platinums to 60 at the time of this recording. In that time, I've platinumed a wide range of games, from first-person shooters, action-adventure, open world, platformers, fighting games, etc. I've got a platinum wheel that's sitting at over 300 games to play in the future on top of new games releasing all the time. My point is, I've got no shortage of potential platinums to add to my collection, and yet there's so many games I wish I could grab the platinum for that are simply no longer possible. Of course, I'm talking about those games with multiplayer trophies in which that service is no longer active, meaning the platinum is forever unobtainable. So I figured, since I'm busy working on some longer platinum projects at the moment, why not vent a little bit and talk about some unobtainable platinum trophies I wish I could still go and get. Before I get started though, this is not a list that includes games that never had trophies. So games like Oblivion, for example, aren't going to be on the list, even though I'd love to have an Oblivion Platinum. This is exclusively games that had trophies and platinums that are no longer possible to obtain because servers are no longer up, which is an issue I'll talk about later in the video. If you like this style of video and want to see more, be sure to leave the video a like, comment below your own list of games you'd love to platinum that are no longer possible, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. The first game on the list is a game that back in the day was a brutal platinum, with a trophy that required you to speedrun through the game on the hardest difficulty, and when you died, you restart the whole thing. I know, why would I want this platinum? Well, it's because I love Max Payne 3. Back in 2012, Max Payne 3 blew my mind with its intense story, satisfying gunplay, and just captivating world. I actually 100%ed this game back in 2012 and suffered through the rage-inducing New York Minute and hardcore achievement. It was a brutal achievement, absolute misery, but the game itself was so good that I ultimately kept going. This is my favorite entry in the Max Payne series, and it hurts I can't go and grab the platinum anymore because of a fun enough but not spectacular multiplayer mode. Maybe someday I'll still tackle the rest of the achievements or trophies, but no platinum or 100% potential does hurt my motivation, and I can't help that. Let's keep the difficult platinums I can't get rolling with a game that I've heard constantly from covering a later game in the series, that if I thought that platinum was a grind, you should have played this game. And by the looks of it, they're right, as apparently the time estimate is 430 hours, which seems very specific. However, I am a big fan of this series, and I would love to at least attempt this monster, and that is Mortal Kombat 9. I've platinumed Mortal Kombat 11, I should have platinumed Mortal Kombat 1 by now, if not for another type of unobtainable trophy, and Mortal Kombat X I'd like to platinum in the future. That just leaves Mortal Kombat 9, and the fact I can't grab that one as well does annoy me. Yes, I know it's a grind. Trust me, it looks miserable, but as someone who couldn't get enough of the game back at release, and having so many memories with the game, I'd love the excuse to go back, and if I'm going for all the Mortal Kombat Platinums, it's not going to feel quite right without this one. Let's take a break from the ball-busting platinums though, and talk about a game that, whilst not perfect, okay, it was a decent concept with a lot of potential given the team working on the game, but not perfectly executed. With that being said, as a massive fan of this IP, I didn't care. I played this game all the time, even owning both the 360 and DS version for that portable action. I want to be able to platinum The Lord of the Rings Conquest. If you've been around the channel for any length of time, you know I love me some Lord of the Rings. It's my favorite movie, and yes, single movie, because you watch one, you watch them all that day. No ifs, ands, or buts. Once again, Conquest wasn't perfect. It was supposed to be Battlefront, but instead of Star Wars, it was Lord of the Rings, but it never quite felt the same. I did still enjoy playing as the forces for good and evil, making my way through iconic locales, and it apparently wasn't too bad a platinum to grab. There's not many Lord of the Rings platinums I can get, and Conquest would have been a good one. Back to some surprisingly lengthy platinums that, as someone who isn't even a big fan of the IP, was incredible and truly some of the most surprisingly great games from this generation. It is a twofer, but I had to include both, and that is Transformers War and Fall of Cybertron. Now, both of these games I actually had no idea had multiplayer aspects to them. I didn't remember playing that at all, which is why I was so disappointed when someone suggested these games for the wheel, and I learned these are unobtainable. On the surface, these games were Gears of War, but Transformers. Well, yeah, that's kind of what they were, but they were badass. The story was awesome, the Transformers were dope, the gameplay loop was a lot of fun. It was an awesome time, and even though both of these games seem like they were a bit of a grind, holy hell what I wouldn't do to get these platinums and re-experience these games today because they were surprisingly great. Okay, the final two games I've got for this video are more series, but they're much in the same vein and were a big reason I loved my PS3 just as much as my 360. Both of these series are some of my favorites in the genre. They were always in the rotation multiplayer wise, and it still frustrates me that Sony have done nothing with these games since 2013. I am of course talking about Resistance and Killzone. Now before I start, Resistance Fall of Man has no trophies, and Resistance 3 can still be obtained by local means. I found out while researching this video, which is awesome. And Killzone 1 and Liberation can also still be platinums. But I mean, come on, I'd love to platinum the Resistance trilogy and the Killzone series, but I can't because they're basically all stuck on the PS3 outside of Killzone Shadowfall and mostly unobtainable. As much as Resistance 2 isn't my favorite, that multiplayer was awesome back in the day. Killzone 2 and 3 had awesome multiplayer experiences, and Shadowfall wasn't bad either. These are games that made the PS3 and made me get a PlayStation as well as a 360, but they get no love today. Where's the Resistance or Killzone collections for current consoles? I mean, look at the Master Chief Collection. A great way to play the series campaigns and multiplayer, and Resistance and Killzone don't get anything. These are the unobtainable platinums that do really bother me and make me wish multiplayer trophies at least were separated from the platinum, even if it's after the fact. These were awesome games, and yes, some of them took some time to platinum, but to know I can only grab Killzone 1 and Liberation, not the greatest experiences in the series, and Resistance 3, which I'll be honest is my favorite, but still, I'd love to have all these games in my platinum collection, and because of shutdown servers and no recent attention or desire to bring these games to the new consoles, I seemingly never will. Sorry, I got into a bit of a rant towards the end there, but in all seriousness, it really is a shame these games I've gone over can't be platinumed anymore. Yes, you can revisit them. Get what you can, but there's something about that platinum or 100% that takes it to the next level. I'd love it if there were retroactive trophy changes when things become unobtainable, like removing trophies, separating trophies into categories, and adding more single player trophy offerings in their place. I know it's unrealistic, and with so many games to play, why care? But these were great, or at least good, games that sadly are lost to time a little bit in terms of the trophy and achievement hunting community. You can absolutely still play these games, and if you haven't played some of these before, I highly suggest you do, but I wish our games didn't feel like more and more they'll just become husks over time. I don't have an issue with multiplayer trophies, but what I don't like is having them take away a platinum in the process of time. Thank you all so much for watching. A bit of a different video today, but if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like because it helps let me know that you enjoyed yourself. Comment below your own list of unobtainable platinums you wish you could get today. Thank you as always to all my channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to those in the Bear Club, G&T Puppy, Jackie White, and Nugget. It really does mean a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, go give my socials a follow if you fancy at MayorHairBear, join the Discord server to have a chat, go chuck me a follow on Twitch if you want to see some of these platinum journeys live, or subscribe to the VOD channel to catch up on streams you missed, and I'll catch you all in the next video.